Hello and welcome to Islamic Finance Weekly, a program dedicated to shedding light on the world of non-interest markets, which educates and elevates the narrative around non-Islamic finance markets in Nigeria and across the continent. My name is Rahma Say Muhammad. On today's episode, we'll be discussing on Zakat and Sadaqah as an essential component to Islamic finance. We'll be discussing on the core principles on Zakat and Sadaqah. And also, we'll be discussing on Sukuk. What is Sukuk? What is Sukuk Bond? And how is Sukuk an essential component or essential instrument to Islamic finance? This segment is aimed at educating you on certain tenets of Islamic finance that you tend to overlook or didn't know was significant to Islamic finance. And today we delve into the concept of Zakat and Sadaqah. And with me today is Prince Suleiman Olagunju, the Executive Director of Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation. Thank you so much, Mr. Suleiman Olagunju, for having us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Could you please provide us a comprehensive breakdown of the roles that Zakat and Sadaqah play in the Islamic finance system?
So Zakat means growth. It means protection for the wealth of those who have it, if they observe it. Zakat means economic empowerment for those who do not have, who are incapacitated in one way or the other, to liberate them from that poverty level. So that's why the zakat is in the middle course in the affair of the Muslims. Once your wealth reaches certain amount, which you call nisab, it is compulsory for you to pay zakat, which is equivalent to 85 grams of gold, which we translate to the currency of that particular country. In Nigeria today, zakat is enabled about, maybe it's going to change now with all the changes that is happening in the world. But as at last year, it's between 1.6 million and 2 million or thereabouts. And you can see that many people will tell you this is the sub. So if you have the net income, not the gross, the net income, you have spent a whole 1 year and you are able to still have investable amount of money, or you store it in another form. Maybe you have bought shares, you have invested the money in a particular business and the money is still there, and you have up to that nisab, then you are expected to give out 1/40 of that net income. 1/40 of that income to the less privileged members in the society. That's basically, that's what zakat is all about. Sadaqah, this is the second aspect of Islamic financing, does not have minimum. You don't have to possess any amount. Even if you have 1,000 naira, you might decide to do charity of 100 naira, 200 naira, as might be convenient for you. So you are not restricted. So, and that's why most of us will tell you that, okay, zakat is like compulsory prayer, while sadaqah is like the non-obligatory prayer that we observe. So it's not compulsory. So the difference between the two is that you don't need to have plenty money before you start paying charity. And that allows you to be able to share the little you have with others, and thereby promoting love between the have and the have-nots.
Basically, zakat means giving out of your total net worth.
Exactly.
1/40 out of the total net worth you have. And
Exactly.
Sadaqah is just basically charity,
It's
even
charity.
just any amount to the
anything.
less privileged. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be overboard. Okay, so thank you. And could you tell us the context of zakat and who is eligible to receive zakat? Who are the people that are eligible to collect out of your 140?
There are 8 categories as stated in the Quran that can benefit from the zakat. The first category are the poor people. The poor people, as defined by Islam, is somebody who could not afford to eat 3 times daily or 2 times daily or 1 time daily, as you might want to see it. Any person that cannot feed himself, he cannot get an amount of money through his own effort to be able to feed himself, and it's not an underage that is being taken care of, it's an adult, then that person is entitled to collect zakat. And the second category, we call them the needy. They have, but it's not enough. They have, but it's still not enough. So this set of people too are entitled to collect zakat. Somebody working day and night, but yet when it's time to pay school fees, he can't afford it. He can't afford it. He cannot afford to perform basic necessity of life on his children or his family. So then it's a needy that need to be supported. And the third category are those who are in bondage. In bondage not necessarily means to be a slave, because people tend to put that as somebody who is a slave, and there is no more slavery these days. Yes. No, we still have people, for one reason or the other, they find themselves in the prison. This category of people also need to be taken care of from the zakat proceed. We also have the traveler that is, when he's on the journey, for one reason or the other, he lost his means of movement. Maybe he doesn't have the transport money any longer. Yes. So he's stranded, maybe because of war or anything has happened over there. You also can benefit from the zakat. Equally are those who are in debt. When we are talking of those who are in debt, not necessarily the debt that you just decide to go and be borrowing money and therefore you become a debtor. No. It must be a debt that is a sort of necessity. He needs to go to school, he doesn't have the means. He needs to go and learn one trade or the other, he doesn't have the means. He needs to buy equipment, he doesn't have the means. He needs to live, needs to be inside, to have shelter on his head, he doesn't have, and he has to borrow money to get all this. Then such debt needs to be settled from the zakat money. So also those who are administering the zakat are also entitled to collect zakat as a means of livelihood. They are working, so they need to be given salary just like any other person working in industry, because they have left their other means of life to come and be administering zakat. So they are entitled to collect zakat. Those who are also doing the work of Allah, we call it fi sabilillah. Those who are propagating the work, like all these imams, the scholars, the masters. So all those people, they also fall on those who are entitled to collect zakat. Those who are, for one reason or the other, they have to be teaching people, and there's nobody to pay for them. They are entitled to zakat. Like this in our country now, all this we call al-majiri people. If we are able to assert that they're actually doing the work, they have number of students under them, and they are the one responsible for them, and they don't have the means, they are entitled to collect zakat so that they won't be in want. They will not have a problem of how to feed themselves.
Oh, okay. That's okay, sir. So basically, these are all the people that are entitled to collect zakat. Yeah. Well, the concept of zakat is intricate, and I know people would want to know what would make them eligible to give zakat. Aside the fact that you have to give 140 out of your net worth, what are other what other categories or other things you need to put into consideration before you can give zakat?
To give zakat, one must be a Muslim. Zakat is not compulsory for non-Muslim. So that's the first thing. You must be a Muslim. And you must be matured to actually pay zakat. Though you can pay zakat on behalf of a minor, because minor will not know how to go about the calculation of the zakat. So, but you can pay zakat on behalf of a minor if he has wealth. That person must have excess. You must have excess that qualifies you to pay zakat. That's what we call nisab. You must have. If you don't have, zakat is not obligatory on you. That wealth must be wealth that you are in possession. It's not the wealth that you are not in control. If you are, yes, you are the owner of the money, but that money is not in your control, then you can't pay zakat until when you are in control of that wealth. And when we are talking of paying zakat, don't look at only cash. You look at your total net worth. You need to look at various ways by which you have stored the wealth. Some might buy shares, some might decide to invest in property, some might have business, you might have kept the money somewhere, you might have borrowed out the money. Everywhere that you have your wealth, you need to put everything together to be sure that you have the wealth. And if you are in debt, you have to take the debt away from what you have to still confirm whether your net worth is up to nisab before you talk of paying zakat.
Thank you. And the impact of zakat goes beyond
Hmm.
individual recipients.
The impact of zakat is really wonderful.
Yeah.
It starts from the wealthy person who is paying zakat. When you pay your zakat, what you have done is you have protected yourself as well as your wealth. Because Rasulullah made us to realize a wealth that is above nisab, that belongs to a Muslim, has an aspect of zakat in it. And if you don't remove that zakat away from that money, the money can become another thing.
Yes.
So you're actually protecting your wealth and you are protecting yourself.
Yes.
So each time you pay the zakat. So the wealthy person is actually encouraged to pay zakat.
Yeah.
Allah will be pleased with that person that pays zakat, and Allah wants to overlook his fault because he has paid zakat. Because you have paid zakat, Allah will, because of that, overlook your fault, and I mean, you also get blessing from Allah for paying the zakat. For the poor people, it's a means of economic empowerment. It's a means of softening their heart. It's a means of liberating them from one problem or the other. Somebody who is sick, you can pay zakat to get him off, off from the sickness and become a healthy person. You can use zakat to provide means of work. It's a means of encouraging people to actually work. So you can use zakat to educate people. You can use zakat to train people. So zakat is really, its potential is much.
So aside individual recipients,
Yeah.
how does zakat play a significant role in bolstering the landscape, the financial landscape of a country, not just a person?
The easiest way to look at it is, I call it economic propellers. That's what zakat does. It propels economics activities among the citizens in anywhere they are actually paying the zakat the way they ought to pay it. If you take, for example, if you have 100 people and out of them only 2 are qualified to pay zakat and they pay the zakat, and you use the money of these 2 persons to empower even just only say 3 or 4 people, what you have done is you have increased those who are better off from 2 to 6. So it's actually providing a huge opportunity for the country, by which many areas where people will not even think of, you are helping them to get out of the economic problem. In our own case, we have so many people that they will be out of the school if we don't give zakat to them. If you don't pay zakat to them, they'll be out of school. So we're helping the country to retain them in school. While we are even picking those who are out of the school, use zakat money to return them back to school. So it's really a whole lot of potential.
Yes.
Now, in the area of medical support, government cannot do it all. We have gotten a situation whereby most of those equipment that we don't have ability to acquire, if zakat are harnessed together, you can use it to buy equipment of such, by which it can reduce the cost, especially for the poor citizen that will enjoy that facility.
Right.
So if they go there, instead of them paying 10,000, ask them, okay, you can pay 2,000 naira because zakat has been used to provide this. So, and so on and so forth.
So zakat basically covers other basic amenities in life. It helps in education, helps in health, helps in probably infrastructure too, because I mean, if there are individuals doing labor work that you give them. Can non-Muslims participate in giving zakat?
For the non-Muslims, Islam is a balanced religion. That's why you have Sadaqah. The two of them are doing the same thing. These two of them are doing the same thing. But for the non-Muslims, they can pay charity, they can pay Sadaqah, but it's not compulsory for them to pay zakat.
Yes, but can non-Muslims receive as well?
Non-Muslims can benefit from zakat. Okay. Non-Muslims can benefit because we have, in fact, that's the last one I forgot to mention about. Algorithm. Those people who have just accepted Islam or they want to become Muslims, they are not yet Muslims. You use it to encourage them when they have issues, so that they will see the beauty of Islam. So non-Muslim can benefit.
All right. Thank you so much, Prince Suleiman. Thank you so much. That was really insightful. I mean, I got to know a lot of stuff from what you said. I can now differentiate between Sadaqah and Zakat, and I'm sure the audience are also well educated now. Thank you so much.
I hope you have taken one or two lessons.
Yes, thank you, sir. You're probably walking down the streets or just driving by and you come across this billboard, Sukuk billboard. Well, today we'll be telling you what the Sukuk billboard stands for, as we'll be discussing with an industry expert, Mr. Indako Mijindadi, who is Head Investment and Research Management at Lotus Capital.
Sukuk as an instrument is derived from Islamic finance structures. You are right that the term Sukuk is an Arabic term, but basically in English it just means a certificate. It's a certificate like any other certificate that represents that whoever is holding it has ownership of something. For a Sukuk, the instrument represents your ownership of an underlying asset or underlying activity. In Nigeria, for us, most of the Sukuk that have been used for infrastructure. So for those that are holding the Sukuk, they are having an underlying interest or an interest in the underlying infrastructure that has been built with that Sukuk.
Right.
Now, to answer your second question as to how it can be used for, or rather, improving the economy, lifting people out of poverty, I think I'll touch on a couple of things. So one, it does help with financial inclusion. So as an instrument, it appeals to people who are conscious about their faith and want to invest in line with their values. Those people naturally are sometimes excluded from the conventional financing system. When you have an instrument such as Sukuk, you bringing those people into the financial sector. You by that empower people, help them to get returns, help them to be more savvy about savings and investment, and that also helps them get out of poverty. That's in the mobilization. In the area of allocation, because Sukuk is an Islamic finance instrument, the utilization of Sukuk proceeds has to be in line with things that promote social good. So for instance, we have Sukuk being used for housing. We have Sukuk being used for road construction, and things like that, which are positive for economic growth and also positive for lifting people out of poverty, if we want to use that. So I think I can stop on these two areas as ways that Sukuk can be used. So quite contrary, Sukuk is very encompassing. Now, if I had a conventional instrument, what you have is people are excluded from investing in that conventional instrument. However, if I had a Sukuk instrument, everyone can invest in the Sukuk instrument, whether you're conventional or whether you're ethical or whatever, right? So a Sukuk actually increases the amount of people that can be accommodated. So regardless of your faith, you can invest in a Sukuk instrument. Regardless of your inclinations, you can issue a Sukuk instrument as well. So Lagos State, I must say, is very forward-thinking in their application of financial structures and in the kind of development that they intend to bring within this region. It is part of that forward-thinking and innovative reasoning that made them go forward with this Sukuk instrument. Now, the funds that have been raised from investors are being utilized for infrastructure, specifically to construct and rehabilitate roads or a road along the Lekki-Epe corridor. Now, if you're very familiar with the Lagos terrain, you will know that that is a region that is expanding. There's a lot of construction going on around that area. It's increasing the economic environment for Lagos State. So this Sukuk proceeds are being applied to a section of the road to enhance transportation within the region, to also enhance economic activities along that corridor. A number of states have looked to the Sukuk market privately. Aside Lagos, we've seen in the past, Osun as well has looked to the Sukuk market to raise financing. So honestly, I do see a lot of people taking more attention or giving more attention to Sukuk for various reasons. One, we have seen growth of the Islamic finance market or the non-interest finance market in general. Whether it is in the insurance sector, in the banking sector, in the asset management sector, the growth has been quite interesting, even in pensions. On account of that, a number of issuers, states inclusive, are looking to tap into that pool of funding that is potentially available for their development. So I do see a lot of interest coming into this space. As a practitioner myself, it is very interesting when you see issuances coming up. It tells us a number of things. It tells us on the side of the issuers that there's a lot of confidence in the non-interest finance market. On the side of the investors, it tells us that there's a lot of demand for the instrument. I mean, I think I should mention that the Lagos State Sukuk was oversubscribed. It had a subscription rate of about 118%, right? So they came to the market to raise about 19.8 billion, ended up raising about 26 billion, and thereabout. So it was significantly oversubscribed, right? So that tells us that there's demand for the instrument. So if you look at it from the issuer side, there's confidence. If you look at it from the investor side, there is strong demand. If you look at it from the point of view of the intermediaries, like whether it's the banks or the insurance companies or the asset managers, we have additional instruments to invest in. So it improves the liquidity and the resilience of the industry at large. Okay, so I think there are a number of things that we need to understand. And one is, what's the meaning of inclusion? Inclusion means that everybody should come in. We're trying to bring in additional people. That's the meaning of inclusion. So this market is not exclusive, it is inclusive, right? So non-interest finance in general is trying to achieve additional participation in the financial markets, regardless of your regions, right? Now, what we have identified is that part of the structures that can help us to achieve that emanated from certain regions. We're utilizing those structures of those regions to achieve the objective of inclusion. So if I'm to demystify a myth, I would say that non-interest finance is inclusive, right? And not exclusive. So we're very big on awareness. Most of our engagements center around educating people about non-interest finance, educating people about their financial health, We conduct a number of training programs and seminars. We have our presence in various regions, whether it's up north, whether it's in the southwest, whether it's in the southeast, as in we try and put ourselves as close as possible to the regular investors to help them understand the benefit of financial intelligence and what the non-interest financial sector has in store. On our own end as well, we try and create and innovate products that can enable them achieve that financial inclusion or financial discipline. As an asset manager, as our asset management business has mutual funds. Our mutual funds appeal to different investor categories, regardless of your investor type. If you're aggressive, we have something that is ethical for you. If you're a low-risk investor, we have something that is ethical for you. On our advisory side, we try and work with issuers to help them raise funding that is compliant to grow their businesses or their financing needs. And at the same time, like I said, as an industry player, we try and also galvanize other industry players under various umbrella associations to make sure the industry continues to grow collectively as a whole, because in our own view, that's the best way to achieve resilience in this segment.
And that will be all in Islamic Finance Weekly. I hope you are able to understand one or two things on Zakat and Sadaqah and understand certain misconceptions around it. And I hope you understand the meaning of Sukuk Bond, and anytime you see a billboard on the road, you're able to tell what this billboard is for. Now, I remain Rahma Say Muhammad, and don't forget to keep up to date with us next week on the program. Follow us on all our social media platforms showing on the screen. Thank you for watching.